the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll continue with roll call.
Coy,
Here.
Langy,
Here.
Merrill,
Here.
Clausen,
Here.
Murin,
Here.
Moaning,
Here.
Faust,
Here.
File.
Here.
Okay, and under action, I would ask for approval of the consent agenda was provided you.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second to approve the consent agenda. If you will please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
As well, I'd request approval of the full agenda as provided you.
So moved. Second.
A motion with a second to approve the full agenda. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay. Under first actions tonight, we will start with a presentation and a proclamation for the 2013 Read Aloud to a Child Month. The proclamation for Read Aloud to a Child Month reads, whereas literacy is the fundamental building block of all learning and is essential to the growth and the success of every child in our city. And whereas reading to children enlarges their vocabulary and enhances their listening skills, thereby fostering intellectual growth and a more positive attitude toward reading. And whereas reading to a child is a simple and priceless act that benefits both adult and child, positively contributing to family literacy and strengthening the bond between a parent and a child. And whereas when parents assume the responsibility for children's literacy, making a commitment to reading for 20 minutes a day, children become more healthy, resilient, and inquisitive. And whereas allowed to your child for 20 minutes a day is a nationally recognized program that has been in existence for more than 20 years. And whereas Read Aloud Norfolk, the Norfolk Public Library, Norfolk area schools, and other organizations representing parents, teachers, librarians, and concerned citizens advocate for reading aloud to children because it fosters healthy interaction between adults and children. And whereas reading aloud to children will enhance family literacy and the well-being of the young people throughout this city. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Sue Fuchman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim November 2013 as Read Aloud to a Child Month in the City of Norfolk and the surrounding area, and encourage all parents, teachers, librarians, and others caring adults to read aloud to a child. With that, Mark, I'm sure, or Angie, or who's going to?
Actually, Your Honor, I have Mrs. Hausman and some kindergarten students from Jefferson Elementary today.
Well, let me tell you that I had the privilege to read to a very interesting group of little kindergartners.
I believe they brought their favorite read aloud.
Did they?
Could
Mrs.
take a
Hausman.
picture?
This is Mrs. Hausman, who is principal of Jefferson School, and certainly a wide promoter.
Could we have you?
Do you guys like being read to?
And what's your favorite book? They're so fun at that age.
You were last. You gotta read next time.
I was in a show.
I remember
Bring more kids.
All right.
have a message you'd like to share with us? No, but thank you for encouraging reading. It's so important, especially at a young age. Everybody loves being read to, so thank you so much.
That took the time to come in and allow us to see what's going on in the community. It's a great thing. Certainly, year after year, I've been involved in this, and like I say, I know you do this. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Angie, I've got a proclamation.
This is out here.
I refer to her as Angie because she was a student teacher when my third grader was a struggling student. Okay. Mark, did you want to address anything to this?
No, thank you for your support.
Well, and you know, my one question is going to be, weren't we in the running for some sort of a contest on this Read Aloud effort?
We were a part of a nationwide effort.
And how do we do? Do we know yet?
Well, yes, they did break the record. It was 2.5 million people read Otis
Right.
on that day in November, or October.
Very good. Well, congratulations, and we can't thank you enough, Mark, for your efforts. I know how much time you put into it, so thank you on behalf of this entire community. Okay. How about a street update? Yeah. Mark, see what you got to look forward to in a few years, too. Congratulations on that baby.
Scholarship for K-State. Another scholarship for K-State.
Hey, hey, hey.
Saying that while you're wearing red.
I'm here tonight to give you an update on our street projects. Start with Michigan Avenue. We're pretty much all but done on Michigan Avenue. It was a long time coming. We've got some sodding and some minor punch list items for the contractor to finish up. But besides that, the contractor's plan on pulling majority barricades tomorrow and leaving just a few on site for the solders to use for finish up sodding any punch list items. So there's already been folks driving through there, as you've seen, with we kind of have the soft barricades up now, but should be taking down the majority of those tomorrow. And any questions on that? Or?
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. On 20th Street, this week they'll be making the changeover to the third and final phase, which is the north half of Parker Circle and the 100 feet going north from there. They'll be maintaining the south end of the project open to local traffic, but talked to the contractor just before the meeting tonight, and weather permitting, the street should be completely reopened by Thanksgiving. And sidewalks, we'll see how the weather goes on whether they get those done. They should still get those done this year. I would imagine just kind of weather dependent on that, so.
Okay.
Any questions on 20th? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't on. Sunset Circle and 18th, we're finishing up with the final pour on Sunset Circle this afternoon. So that should be, they're finishing up, I called them right before the meeting again, and they're finishing that up this afternoon. So in 7 days, they should be completely out of Sunset Circle. Once the weather clears up later this week, they're gonna begin on some panel replacement on 18th Street between Phillip and Paswalk. And again, that's just panel replacement, so we're gonna ask the contractor to be cognizant of the weather and only remove what he can put back the next day and go along in short breaks and pours, break pour. We're looking probably at a minimum of 3 weeks of work to get that done. Again, weather dependent. We're planning on maintaining traffic in that one though, but there will be some spots that will be down to a single lane where folks will have to drive around barricades. But we figured it was still a situation where they could maintain traffic. But we did ask folks that if you don't have to be there, please find an alternate route, but it will be maintained, especially for the school traffic and whatnot. So, any questions on that? Okay,
Hearing none? Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate having you here. Okay, next is public hearing at the request of Eagle Ridge Management LLC for a zoning change from R1 Single Family to R2 at 800 Wood Street. I will open this hearing and look to you, if you would come forward and state your name for us, sign in. Is there a pen up there? Okay.
My name is Brian Brosh. I'm with Eagle Ridge Management. Looking to do a zoning change on the 800 Wood Street project. Kind of give you a history of it. I bought it here in March or February with a pretty blighted house on it. I tore that down. Now looking to put a duplex on that property. Talked with the zoning guys and everything. We've pretty much got everything laid out where we can get a duplex to fit on there without a problem.
Okay. Any questions at all, council? If not, all right. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Trent, do you have anything you want to add to this, or you been a part of?
Mayor and council, it's pretty much straightforward. That lot it's on a kind of a double corner there, so those lots are kind of hard to build on. It's less than 7,000 square feet. It's about, by county GIS, it's about 6,300 square feet, which is below what a R1 lot would actually be anyway. So for a duplex to go on this, I think Steve Nordhughes has worked with him a little bit, and kind of we're gonna get a nice product there, something that'll be utilized well. There is some R2 down a little bit further south on the corner of Michigan and Glen, so a couple blocks away. So there is some other R2 there, not a lot, but with these smaller lots, I can see why they want to do that. So.
Okay. Any other comments or questions or discussion? I think anybody and everyone probably realizes the need for that type of housing here, so I commend you for taking the initiative and going forward. So, but with that being said, do we have a report from our planning commission?
The Norfolk Planning Commission held a public hearing at the request of Eagle Management LLC for a zone change from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 1 and 2 Family Residential at 800 Wood Street. The applicant bought this property at an auction. The house was on the lot. That was on the lot could not be renovated, so it was torn down. He wants to build a duplex on the lot, so is asking for a rezone from to R2. He's working with both building officials to assure that a duplex will be built on the lot. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the zone change on a 7-0 vote.
Okay, and with that, I will close this public hearing unless there's someone else that wants to speak to it. And ask then for consideration of ordinance number 5272, approving the zone change from R1 to R2 at 800 Wood Street.
Your Honor, I'd introduce ordinance 5272 on first reading.
Second that, Your Honor.
We have a motion with a second. A short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Madison County, Nebraska, amending the zoning district map of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, providing when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and providing for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
All right, and with that, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5272 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5272 on second and third.
Second.
We have a motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass on second and third. Any further discussion on that? If not, again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5272 carries on second and third.
All right. Next, we're looking for consideration of approval of CNIC Health Solution as a third-party administrator for the City of Norfolk Health Plan, which includes utilizing the city's current pharmacy provider, preferred provider network, and reinsurance company.
I'll introduce the motion.
Okay. Okay, a motion with a second. Sheila, are you going to talk to us about this a bit?
In July, we got notice that First Administrators was going to be no more as of December 31st. So it put us on a big scramble. Apparently with the new Healthcare Act, there was, am I not? I just got to get closer. There, okay. With the new Healthcare Act, they didn't, in order to do all the improvements to the software, it was going to be, I guess it was a business decision for First Administrators. And so they just decided that they were going to close shop on December 31st. So we, a couple of months ago, you authorized us to work with a consultant called National Insurance Services, and they helped us with this proposal. And one of the things that I had a lot of concern about is when you make a switch over, maybe would have lots and lots of changes. Well, as it turned out, the most competitive folks were those folks who we currently have our plan for the provider network, for the reinsurance carrier, and of course the reinsurance carriers are a big one. And we spend a lot of money on reinsurance. The overall cost from last year for the fixed cost is about $8,000, and Deb and Pat, Marcia and I all interviewed this group from Scenic for who is the one we are recommending, and that cost is about $8,000 more than our last year's cost. And I had budgeted a bit more than that in our budget, not knowing at the time that we were going to be losing our third-party administrator. So, any questions? I'll be glad to answer them.
So Sheila, we're going to be a little bit above budget on this, or you budgeted enough?
I have budgeted enough
Okay.
for it. Yep. Mhm. Thanks.
Any other questions at all, council? Okay, thank you, Sheila. If any further discussion among you, council? If not, then I would ask that you please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
All right. And next would be consideration of approval of the agreement between the City of Norfolk and the Hayter Rural Fire Protection District regarding the transfer of a 1989 Ford fire truck to the Hayter Rural Fire Protection District for $1.
I'd offer the motion, Your Honor.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion with a second. Scott, are you talking to this? You want to get, or do we need a little bit of information, please?
Mayor and Council, if I may, just briefly, when we began the plans with the Rural Fire Protection District to replace the rural pumper truck, the Engine 4, that we just recently took delivery of, we discussed the option about how we would dispose of the truck we would be replacing. There's historically not a good resale value for trucks of that vintage, and in an effort to reach out to our mutual aid partners who we rely on greatly to carry out the fire protection mission, we wanted to make that available to them. And so in cooperation with the Rural Fire Board and discussions with City Administrator Widener, we decided to make that offer. We're very pleased that Hayter came forward and said they had a desire to have that truck. We have an automatic mutual aid agreement with them, so essentially every fire we have becomes theirs and vice versa. So we are each other truly primary partners in our effort to try to provide that protection. So we have great regard for Hayter and the hard work that they do down there, and we consider them a great partner in what we're trying to do. So to have the opportunity tonight to make that truck available to them, to be in a supporting role for their department, and then likewise be available to come back to Norfolk on a mutual aid call should we ever have that. It's great. It's a great situation for us. It's a great win-win partnership that we feel very happy to be a part of. So I guess we're here tonight respectfully requesting from all of you the ability to transfer that truck to them and let them utilize it in that regard. So I have present tonight Secretary Treasurer of our Rural Fire Protection District, who was on the board, and Jim Morris here with us this evening. We greatly value the support of the Fire Protection District. As you know, we have a 12-year contract with them that binds our relationship to provide protection. 102 square miles of territory outside the city limits that board represents, that we provide fire protection for through Norfolk Fire. So it's a great partnership, and we value them and their willingness to allow this to occur as they transfer that asset to the city of Norfolk pursuant to that contract. So, and we also have representatives from Hayter tonight here. I believe the Secretary Treasurer of the Rural Board is here tonight, and their fire chief is with us tonight. Again, we can't say enough about our friends from Hayter. They do a great job, and we're glad to be partners with them on this project. So I don't know if those guys want to speak. Chief, I don't know if you want to, anything you want to say to the,
I just appreciate the offer. I think that's great. We can keep within our district and you guys' district also. So, and I think a decent truck, we're trading up 20 years, so.
Great, great.
Gary shared with us, kind of coincidentally, the truck that this is replacing is a 1969 model that likewise came from the city of Norfolk when we upgraded the last time. So, they feel good about that. We feel good about being a part of that. So, with your blessing, we would respectfully request your support and allow us that transfer tonight. So, Chief, or City Administrator Shane, I don't know if you've got anything else. You were part of all that. Appreciate your support in that. Otherwise, I'll stand down. Thank you for your
Thank you very,
support.
you bet. Thanks, Scott, for being here.
Just out of curiosity, where does the 69 truck go? You haven't found a taker?
It's up for dibs, I guess. We're just gonna get this in service and then put that kind of in storage for a little while and then probably through, I guess.
So you missed that Pierce auction for about 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you guys all here with us. Thanks for being here tonight, and certainly the partnership is supported greatly by this entire community. So with that, any further discussion? Let's vote, council.
All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Okay, next, we ask for consideration of approval of ordinance number 5273, amending section 26-64, providing for a decision of the city engineer related to sewer and sewage disposal to be appealed to the mayor and the city council.
I will introduce ordinance number 5273.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Discussion on this?
This is I can answer that, Mayor.
Okay,
It's an effort to, really to move the appeal process to the elected officials who represent and own the sewer system within the city of Norfolk. We've recently had some instances where we've had some installation in some manholes within our sewer system that we disagreed with from a staff perspective and always have, and there's been some inquiries about an appeal of that decision from the staff level. We met in the subcommittee with this, and we're told to proceed to this point. We also we're told to have a meeting with our local plumbers to discuss access to manholes, and we're intending to do that. In fact, that meeting is being scheduled currently. So after that meeting occurs, we're trying to do some education with our plumbers so they can understand the importance of maintaining integrity in our manholes and our sewer systems. And if they're aggrieved by those decisions, then they'll have an appeal directly to the owners of the property, which is the mayor and council, instead of an ad hoc committee as the code would currently indicate. We've never really, to my knowledge anyway, in my memory, never engaged this ad hoc committee that the code kind of talks about. It has several different members on it that we've never really engaged. We do have a board of appeals, but not this ad hoc committee, so we thought it was more appropriate that if there's an appeal to be made, again, to go to the mayor and council, since you own the system and the manholes and everything that goes along with it. So that was our intent, and that's our desire for your consideration.
okay, good explanation. Any questions at all for Shane? Okay. What do we have on this, Beth? Short title?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 26-64 of the official city code to provide for a decision of the city engineer related to sewers and sewage disposal to be appealed to the mayor and city council rather than an ad hoc board, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
All right, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5273 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5273 on second and third.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5273 on second and third. If no further discussion, I would ask you to vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5273 carries on second and third.
Okay, next is consideration of ordinance number 5274, amending section 2-5 of the code to update the city's comprehensive fee schedule.
Your Honor, I'd move consideration of ordinance 5274.
Second.
Okay, a motion with a second. Discussion? Is this you, Clint?
I can.
Okay.
The changes, even though it's kind of a long ordinance, there's really two different changes that are in there. One is on pages 12, 13, and 14 of the ordinance, I believe, where there's some garbage and trash fees. Those are some fees related to, and Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, those are fees related to the some new equipment that allows for the getting of computer drives and the like, and so with new equipment, there wasn't any fee, so this would introduce some fees for those. The second one is found on page 21, and that related to the ordinance that you just passed, provides for the costs associated with the appeal of those decisions that were covered in ordinance number 5273 that you just approved. If you have any questions, be happy to try to answer.
Any questions at all? Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Clint, you said that, that covers the cost of the appeal, not the cost of the fix, if there's a fix?
This is as it relates to that, it's the cost of the appeal, just the administrative costs of asking the question about the appeal. You know, the kinds of situations that Shane was talking about that we've addressed recently, those should never happen, because there should be a permit before we access the public sewer. So what this envisions is a situation where if you are wanting to seek a permit to access the public sewer, you're gonna get the denial of that permit. So you're gonna be talking, if you get the denial of that permit, it would provide for the plumber an opportunity to appeal it. So as opposed to the situation that, the recent situation where you have a plumber install something without a permit, and then that's what the removal of that permit, that illegally done action without the permit is what causes the costs associated with the fix. If they would have just asked for that up front, there wouldn't have been any cost for the fix.
Well, appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or discussion?
Were there fire division and swimming lesson changes as well?
Yes. Yeah, and there's also some things in there about the swimming lessons, some fees there. I think there's some other fees about about taking a transfer trailer out to a site and then bringing it back for inspection. If you're tearing off a roof or something like that, there's some provisions for that as well. I apologize for not mentioning those.
All right, any other questions or discussion? If not, short title, Beth.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 2-5 of the official city code to update the comprehensive fee schedule related to garbage and trash, appeals related to sewers and sewage disposal, plat copy fees, and swimming lessons, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Okay, let's vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5274 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5274 on second and third.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5274 on second and third reading. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5274 carries on second and third.
Okay. And just in time, we have the 2013 snow and ice plan to be presented to us tonight.
Mayor and Council, my name is Gary Miller. I'm presenting the snow and ice plan, and I'm really just here to talk about anything that's really different in here, which is really only on page 4, which talks about the no salt streets. Otherwise, the plan has stayed the same for the last 20 years or so. The no salt streets are the ones that you've been hearing about regularly here in the past summer that have been the new construction streets. Those are the ones that we just will not be able to put any salt on. We'll put aggregate down, and hopefully they're a little flatter than 25th Street had been, so maybe there won't be quite as many problems. If you have any questions, the operation stays the same. We're on snow operation number 3. If you want to look at your map and see where you fall on when you're going to get your streets plowed this first snow, in case it's tomorrow, hopefully not. The guys report at 2 o'clock, plow the snow emergency routes, then go into the neighborhoods as they need to, plow the downtown about between 5 and 6 o'clock, haul the snow out that we need to. Questions?
So 25th Street gets salt this year?
Yep.
Phew. Okay. Any questions for Gary?
Gary, the roundabout on Victory Road, is that ours or is that the state that takes care of that?
We will have to take care of that.
Okay, I'm assuming that's a non-salted one?
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I guess you're free to sit down. Please do. You're on, Beth. Short title.
There was another thing I just left.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping back, aren't I? I'm sorry, administrative.
I do have one. If
Okay.
you're done with all your work, we have Sheena and Connor Fick that got inadvertently directed to the wrong place for the Read Aloud to Child Month. They wanted a picture. Connor participated in Read Aloud to Child Month. He wanted a picture with the mayor and council. And so when you're completed with your regular business, if you would wait just a second or two, his mother would like to take a picture.
You know what, Connor? I think we can make that work. So being late has really been a positive for you. So with that, we'll go ahead.
And they really weren't late. They just inadvertently got to the wrong place.
I understand. So we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and council, if you'll sit tight.